In this video, we're going to be exploring curtain walls within our Keystone Library building and how they can be used to enhance the appearance as well as to provide some natural light into our building and just improve the aesthetics of the spaces that we're going to try to provide for the public in our Keystone Library. In order to start this, I'm going to go ahead and go to level 1. The type of wall I'm going to focus on, or the area that I will focus on to put our wall in, is going to be this from a previous video where I created this interior space for maybe a computer lab or children's reading section or whatever this may be. But I'm going to go ahead and choose the wall command, and you're going to notice that in the wall command, once we get past some of the preloaded walls, we have curtain wall. Curtain wall 1, exterior glazing, and storefront. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a curtain wall, and I'm going to kind of draw it outside of the building, and just to show the difference between the three types. Making sure the arrows go to the outside, I'm going to move to the 3D view, and a curtain wall just has a pane of glass. So just to show you what this is set up as, if I change to an exterior glazing, this has some panels set up in it without curtain wall mullions, and this will show you what kind of spacing that they have. To see it, I'm going to go to Edit Type, and you can see that the vertical grid is set at 6 feet, the horizontal grid is set at 12 feet, and that's the spacing that they have set up. And this is why they're getting that particular case. So in this scenario, you'll actually see, so the 12 foot is kind of the vertical component, the 6 foot is the horizontal component. You can kind of see how they're laid out as such. If I change this over to storefront, you're going to see it's going to automatically put in this curtain wall mullion structure, and when I hit edit type, the spacing they have is 5 feet and 8 feet. So if you're wanting a different spacing, we can always duplicate, and we'll do this later on in the video, duplicate and change this to be able to do so. But here's the storefront. I'm going to go ahead and use this as my basis. I like to go through and set a top constraint of unconnected, and then I like to control the height of the wall. So in this case, when we look at the spacing, I'm going to go ahead and go to 8 feet, and when I hit apply, this is going to go through and give us one pane of glass to go across. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 10, just so that way you're able to see the effect. So it automatically will put in another section of glass. It's not a full, so to get another full pane, I would have to go to 16 feet. And this one here, I can go through, I'm going to leave it at 10, just to be able to go through and have something a little bit visually interesting. I'm going to do this. So I drew this wall on the outside of the building, and there's a reason for that. It's very easy. So I'm going to go into level 1, and I'm going to actually highlight this wall, and then I'm going to use the move command, and I want to pick about in the center. So here's the midpoint, and when I go to, and I'm going to move it into the wall that I want to see this wall put into. So, and then when I do that, I want to have to move it into the structure. So you can see the main structure is right here, and I get this dashed blue line when I get that. So once I see that, I'm going to click, and now it's going to set the wall in. When I go into the 3D view, now it cuts out and provides a nice cutout. One thing that I would like to do is maybe I don't want, now this is set to be at the level 1 base for a base level, and maybe I don't want to have that. So one thing is maybe I want it to be above this little sill that I have, and still see the concrete masonry units for the bottom. You know, maybe I don't want to be able to see all the way to the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the annotate tab and choose spot elevation, and let me see at what point right about here I have a value of 3 feet 6 3/4 of an inch. So that's my spot elevation. That's how tall that point is for my elevation. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that number in mind. Hit escape a couple times, get off the tool. Select the wall, and I'm going to do a base offset of, if I don't want it to be right there, I'm going to do 3 feet 6 3/4 of an inch. Hit apply. It's going to offset that by that amount. You can see now we're going to end up getting our sill back in this here without highlighting. Now the window rests on top of the sill, and everything is nice and neat, and we have our curtain wall window. If you're like me, some of the cases, this type of window would probably cause you a little bit of an issue with kind of design, or your what I kind of coin as my OCD. If I select the wall, and let's say I want to go through and make these even panels. Maybe I don't want 8-foot tall panels for this. So I'm going to go ahead and say Edit Type. I'm going to duplicate, and I'm just going to call this Keystone Curtain Wall. And I can even go further and rename this into something more. But I'm going to go ahead and just say Keystone Curtain Wall. And this time, now that I've got this duplicated, I can change the spacing. So rather than having 8 feet, I'm going to go ahead and go to 5. I'm going to say OK. And now, once I change that, now the curtain panels are going to be 5 and 5. Gets a little bit more square. To me, it looks a little nicer, a little bit more symmetrical. And we're able to go through and make that happen. So this is how to use a storefront curtain wall within your building. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to create a custom curtain wall within the second level of our structure. And then later on, we'll look at adding how to add doors and things like that into our building, with the curtain wall being part of that.